streets of Westminster are currently witnessing a scene of unprecedented chaos as hundreds of tractors rumble through the heart of London. Huge crowds have gathered near the Houses of Parliament to deliver a stinging rebuke to the new government led by Keir Starmer. This is not just a simple protest, but a nationwide emergency, as citizens from many miles away travel to the capital to demand immediate change. In less than 100 days of power, the administration has managed to shatter 19 major election pledges, leaving the public in a state of absolute disbelief. Many people are asking if this rapid sequence of failures is merely a sign of poor leadership, or perhaps a more calculated attempt to restructure the nation from within. The atmosphere is thick with tension as the British public watches their democratic values being tested like never before. From the hills of the countryside to the busy streets of the city, the message is clear and loud.
The red alert has been sounded, and the time for accountability has arrived. This is the beginning of a historic struggle for the soul of the United Kingdom, as millions of families face an uncertain future under this controversial regime. The shadow of crisis deepens as we look toward the coastal borders where the situation is spiraling out of control. Every single day, between 400 and 1,000 individuals arrive on British shores after crossing the channel in small boats. This influx has reached a breaking point that threatens the very fabric of national security. Instead of the promised firm control, the government has opted to accelerate asylum approvals by over 55%. This decision has sparked a wave of anxiety across the country as vetting processes are bypassed in the rush to clear backlogs. The consequences are visible in the heart of our major cities, where law and order seem to be a distant memory. London has tragically earned the reputation of being the crime capital of Europe. Statistics show that there are more than 1,200 machete attacks every month across the nation. This level of violence was once unthinkable, but it has now become a grim reality for many citizens. In places like Belfast and Birmingham, there are reports of areas where even the police are hesitant to enter. These locations are becoming territories where the local law of the land no longer applies. Business owners are shuttering their shops and moving many miles away to seek safety for their families. Global corporations are also reconsidering their presence in a capital city where safety is no longer guaranteed. The rise of knife crime is not just a number on a page, but a series of tragedies affecting thousands of homes. While the authorities remain silent, the public feeling of abandonment grows stronger with every passing hour. People are witnessing a transformation of their neighborhoods that they never voted for and never wanted. The strain on local resources is immense as schools and hospitals struggle to cope with the sudden increase in demand. It feels as though the traditional British way of life is being traded for a vision of the future that lacks any clear direction or stability. As the sun sets over the Thames, the sense of unease is palpable. Many wonder how a nation with such a proud history of order could find itself in such a chaotic state so quickly. The tension is building toward a boiling point that cannot be ignored for much longer. Every mile of the border and every street in the city tells a story of a government that has lost its grip on reality. The citizens are left to navigate a landscape where the rules seem to change without warning, and the protection of the state feels like a luxury of the past. It is a moment of deep reflection for the entire country as the gap between the rulers in Westminster and the people on the ground grows wider by the day. This is the reality of a nation at a crossroads, where the path forward is obscured by the fog of political failure and social unrest. Families are forced to watch as their heritage is neglected in favor of a globalist agenda that does not seem to serve the interests of the hard-working British taxpayer. Please share this video to help others see the truth. Which of these issues concerns you the most right now? Comment A if it is the border crisis. Comment B if it is the rise in violent crime. Comment C if it is the failing economy. As the winter chill sets in, a new economic storm is gathering over the rolling hills of the British countryside.
The government has announced a massive black hole in the national budget, amounting to £20 billion. Many experts believe this figure is a convenient fiction designed to justify a brutal increase in taxes for the working class. The most devastating blow has been dealt to the farming community through a new inheritance tax on family land. For generations, these farmers have tended to thousands of acres of soil to feed the nation. But now, they face total financial ruin. This policy threatens to wipe out the traditional family farm and leave our food security in the hands of global corporations. The anger is boiling over as tractors block the main roads and farmers vow to stop the supply of fresh produce to the supermarkets. It is a terrifying prospect for a nation that relies on its own land for survival. While the people are told to tighten their belts and accept these hardships, the rulers in London continue to live in luxury. Small businesses are closing down as the cost of doing business becomes impossible to manage. The dream of owning a farm or a shop is being replaced by a struggle just to pay the monthly bills. Every acre of land and every pound of savings is under threat from a system that seems determined to drain the lifeblood of the country. The betrayal of the rural community is a signal that no one is safe from these radical changes. As the supply chains begin to fracture, the reality of a hungry and broke Britain becomes more likely every day. The backbone of the nation is being pushed to the breaking point by those who promise to protect it. The grand halls of power in London seem to exist in a different universe from the muddy fields of the British farmer or the cold living rooms of the elderly. While the nation is told that there is a massive black hole in the public finances, the reality of the political elite tells a much different story of luxury and indulgence. Keir Starmer, who claimed to be a champion of the working man, has found himself at the center of a massive scandal involving luxury gifts and freebies from wealthy donors. Reports indicate that the Prime Minister has accepted more than £100,000 worth of high-end items and experiences in a very short space of time. These include designer glasses worth thousands of pounds and high-fashion clothing for his wife, as well as tickets to see global pop stars in private boxes. This massive sum of money is being accepted at the exact same time as he tells 10 million pensioners that they must survive the winter without their fuel allowance. The contrast is truly staggering and reveals a level of hypocrisy that has shocked even his most loyal supporters. The situation becomes even more bitter when we look at the specific details of these gifts. While the average person is struggling to afford a new pair of shoes or a coat for the winter, the Prime Minister is receiving gifts from a wealthy lord that include expensive suits and personal items. This is not just about the money, but about the utter disconnect between the rulers and the ruled. The trust that was once the foundation of the British system is being eroded stone by stone as the public realizes that the rules for the elite are very different from the rules for everyone else. It is difficult for a grandmother in a small flat to understand why she must choose between heating and eating, while the man in charge is gifted a lifestyle that rivals the aristocrats of old. The moral authority of the government is vanishing, as every new disclosure reveals more about this culture of entitlement within the heart of Westminster. The betrayal extends even further to the youngest members of our society, who are supposed to be the future of this great nation.
During the path to power, there were clear signals and promises that the burden of debt on students would be addressed and even removed. However, the government has performed a shocking about-face by raising university tuition fees to the record level of £9,500 per year. This decision means that an entire generation will enter the workforce with a mountain of debt that will take decades to repay. The promise of social mobility is being replaced by a system that keeps the young in a state of financial servitude before they even earn their first pound of salary. It is a cruel irony that those who benefited from affordable or even free education in the past are now the ones slamming the door shut on the youth of today. The psychological impact of this broken promise cannot be overstated, as the belief in a better future begins to fade away for many young people across the country. They feel that their aspirations have been traded away for a short-term fix to a problem they did not create. While the internal affairs of the nation are in turmoil, the government is also making decisions that weaken the standing of the United Kingdom on the global stage. Without any vote in Parliament or a single word of consultation with the public, the administration decided to hand over the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands. This remote territory is of immense strategic importance and has been a part of the British family for a long time. Giving away such a vital asset without the consent of the people is seen by many as a deep betrayal of the national interest and a threat to global security. It raises serious questions about who is really in control of our foreign policy and what other parts of the United Kingdom might be offered up next. The sense of a nation being sold off piece by piece is growing every day among those who value the history and the strength of the British Crown. Every mile of land that is given away is a mile of our heritage that can never be recovered. The scale of this crisis is not limited to the borders of the country or the halls of university buildings. It is felt in every home where the bills are rising and the services are failing. The government claims that they are making difficult decisions for the long term, but the people can see that the difficulty is only felt by the taxpayers while the politicians remain insulated in their world of luxury. The increase in national insurance for employers is another hammer blow to the economy that will lead to lower wages and fewer jobs. Small businesses that have been the backbone of the community for many years are now facing the prospect of closure because they cannot afford the extra costs imposed by London. It is a systematic dismantling of the middle class and the working class in favor of a globalist agenda that does not care about the local high street or the family farm. The emotional weight of this situation is reaching a boiling point across the four nations. From the peaks of the Scottish Highlands to the valleys of Wales and the towns of England, the feeling of being ignored is universal. People are watching as their culture and their safety are compromised while their money is taken to fund projects that they never supported. The silence from the mainstream media about the true extent of this anger only adds to the frustration. It is a moment of deep reflection for the entire country as the gap between the rulers in Westminster and the people on the ground grows wider by the day. This is the reality of a nation at a crossroads, where the path forward is obscured by the fog of political failure and social unrest. Families are forced to watch as their heritage is neglected in favor of an agenda that does not seem to serve the interests of the hard-working British citizen. The mask has truly fallen to reveal a leadership that is more concerned with its own comfort and its own power than with the welfare of the people it was elected to serve. Every broken promise and every luxury gift is a reminder of the need for a new direction and a return to the values of honesty and integrity. The spirit of the country is being tested like never before, but the resilience of the British people remains strong. They are beginning to look past the empty rhetoric and the polished speeches to see the truth for themselves. The road ahead will be long and difficult, but the first step toward recovery is recognizing the extent of the damage that has been done. The time for excuses is over, and the time for a real accounting of the actions of those in power has arrived. The future of the United Kingdom depends on the courage of its citizens to stand up and demand better from those who occupy the high offices of state. This darkness is not the end of our story, but the spark that lights the fire of change. Across the nation, a powerful new unity is rising as farmers and families stand together to demand truth. The power to rebuild this great kingdom lies in your hands and not in the halls of Westminster. We are finally waking up to our own strength
and realizing that the spirit of the British people can never be broken. Together, we can restore the honor and values that made this island strong. The dawn is coming, and it belongs to you. Please like this video to help spread the truth, and subscribe to our channel to join the movement for a better future.